everyone. It's your favorite CEO, Miss Flo, and welcome to another episode of Neon Mike, where the conversations just glow. Today, I am honored by my guest when I tell you that this is such an amazing opportunity for me because my mother and I really bonded over her song, like when I was just a baby, just on my way to elementary school. But and it's something that still resonates with me today. When I told her that I was interviewing this person, she immediately screamed over the phone. She can't wait to see this episode. If my guest can go ahead and introduce herself.
What's up? This is your girl, Nonchalant, 5 o'clock in the morning, DMV native, and #1 Billboard chart, 500,000 sold gold record selling DMV artist, Nonchalant. What's up, mama? What's going on, mom?
Oh, she's gonna be so excited when she sees this. Oh, like when I first saw you when I saw the posting for the DMV Hip Hop Love Story in celebration for the 50th anniversary for the DMV, I was like, I immediately got it, and it was free.
Yes.
Y'all need to pay attention with the DC's Humanities because they be really putting on some great programming. It was a lovely panel hosted by Dior Ashley Brown. And I'm hoping for a part two because y'all had a really great conversation. And it was just like an amazing energy in a very intimate setting. So thank you again for being a part of that.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you to Dior Ashley Brown, a dope MC, for having me for her stories. I mean, like you, I'm waiting for part 2 to that because that conversation could have gone on for hours and hours. So I'm looking forward to getting the call, and it was great meeting you there. So thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for being here. There's just so many things I want to talk about with you because as a woman in MC or rapper, which title do you prefer first?
MC, artist, recording artist, but definitely a dope MC. I will always appreciate that title.
And the reason I asked that because in the panel had like an interesting discussion in terms of like what is the difference between a rapper and an MC. So why do you prefer the title of an MC?
Because that covers the full gamut, according to the hip hop culture. So you want to be an MC. You can be a rapper, definitely, but the MC is going to hold your attention. It doesn't matter if they're rapping, just talking to you, or whatever it is they're doing on stage. The MC is going to hold your attention, and that's what I want people to feel when they hear my voice, for one thing, but definitely if I'm rapping, I want to be saying something so dope that I'm going to be holding your attention as the MC.
And that's something we don't really think about because I feel like people just could say like MC and rappers almost like treat them like synonyms. But it seems like with the MC, it's more versatile. Like you're not just limited to one part of the genre. So that's like something like you just didn't really think about before.
Yeah. I mean, the where it all started with hip hop started with the DJ. The DJ is a form of MC because the DJ is going to hold your attention. Some people would kind of cringe at that thought because the DJ in that person's self is definitely the master of the ceremonies. So you can, but a DJ is someone, whoever that is, it's going to hold your attention. So that's when I say, when an MC, no matter if I'm just talking like this, I want to hold your attention. So yeah. Yep.
And thank you for sharing that with me. And I want to know more about your journey in this music industry. Like, how did you get into the world of like being an MC?
Well, I mean, rapping was something, and in saying that, rapping was something that I like to do. I just like to do that. You know what I mean? Putting words together cleverly. It wasn't something that I was trying to do in my music career. Starting out, I wanted to be a singer. That's what I wanted to do. And I started trying to be a singer because I wanted to meet Janet Jackson. So that was my ultimate goal at the end of the day. So singing, you know, like a lot of people in their careers, they would say they had music all around them. You know what I mean? So, but for me, being a rapper or MC, that wasn't at the forefront of my brain. Actually, hip hop music was not at the forefront of my brain. I listened to a lot of jazz music, all sorts of different types of music growing up. So it wasn't until the album of Slick Rick's album, The Adventures of Slick Rick, actually made me hear rap in a different way and made me want to be an MC because of his storytelling and that sort of thing, and being able to make you see what was happening in his raps, and also very melodic. So I got into rapping by accident. I was in the booth and I was waiting for, shout out to Bam from Black Productions. Bam produced 5 o'clock. I was just waiting for him to, you know, as an engineer, to get some things done that he was doing. And I just started rapping. And he was like, yo, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just waiting for you. He was like, nah, you just spit a bar. And I was like, yeah. He was like, man, come on, we about to do that. You know, let's make a rap record. So I was like, cool, let's do it. And, you know, so that's how it started.
That's very interesting because it amazes me how many great things happen just by accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just like the most iconic songs, movie moments, just iconic things in history is just based off a blip. So speaking of storytelling and, you know, writing your lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
5 o'clock in the morning is a song that has like a strong message and that
Mm-hmm.
has it still works to this day. So
Mm-hmm.
like how did you like write 5 o'clock in the morning? Like what was going on at that time, especially in the DMV?
A lot of drug dealers were out on the corner at 5 o'clock in the morning, literally. That was the time of the payphone, where you had payphones on corners. So, you know, and you would normally have payphones right next to, you know, a little corner store. That's where the payphone would be. So at 5 a.m., I was working at the post office and I had to be at work at 6. So it didn't matter whether it was summertime, wintertime, spring, fall, you know, young boys would be out there on the corner, standing around a payphone or standing around a carryout, and you knew what they were doing. And I can remember one morning when I was driving to work, I said, you know, I hope I never see one of my nephews out here 5 o'clock in the morning, just, you know, selling drugs. And we know it continues to, the landscape of the DMV hasn't changed in the sense of, you know, guys or people selling drugs, because drugs has infiltrated every family. It doesn't matter your economic status, your ethnicity, it doesn't matter. It touches everybody. And during that time, I mean, it was running rampant, you know, running rampant in the DMV. So during that time, I would say I never wanted to see that, even though that might be happening in my family. Somebody might be selling drugs, but I just didn't want to see one of my nephews. So during that time, definitely it was in your face. Now it's in your face. Still, unfortunately, 5 o'clock is still relevant to the times. 2023, 1996 to 2023, the song is still relevant. And that's unfortunate because we still see, you know, people out and you know what they're doing. So not too much has changed since then, really. The only thing that's changed is the payphones aren't there. I would say that's the only thing that's changed.
No, it's just like everything is through apps. And, you know, as an educator, I feel your sentiment because we work with so many young people that we know are brilliant and talented, but get caught up in that type of foolishness. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a struggle to really pry them away from that because we know
Right.
the dangers, the penalties, and consequences that come with that lifestyle. And I'm hoping that if we could just get your song back in circulation and just play with it like our young folks, and hopefully that would click in their heads,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to just step away from that. There's other choices, there's other options, you know, there's support there for them, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately they don't always see that.
Yeah, yeah, it is unfortunate. What grade do you, if I can ask, what grade do you teach?
I'm in high school, So I teach 9 through 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Woo, pivotal years. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right there. So absolutely. I mean, I think we are, we're in a different place from 96 to now where the internet is just right there. So any information, any influence that, could curb or deter them from having a positive outlook or direction in their life is right there for them by a click. They can click it and go left instead of right at any given second. So that's the unfortunate thing, and the difference between 96. Someone could hear the record, be really influenced, moved by the lyrics, but they didn't have the option to then click another YouTube video and take them right back to where, that state of mind just blanks out. So that's the unfortunate thing in today's time. And hopefully, with the return, I won't say the return, but we're in 50 years of hip hop. And there are a lot of people whose voices, I wouldn't say were silenced, but you didn't hear them as loud. A lot of people that came before me, with lyrical content that would give you a different outlook on life. I'm never knocking any music that's current because you express yourself how you express yourself, but it just needs to be a balance so that voice, all voices can be heard, in hip hop, not just the one voice, and I don't want to get into specifics of one voice, but just the balance. It needs balance in hip hop, and I don't think we have that right now.
Right. I do believe that there's a certain type of sound and subject matter that's being pushed ahead of because I think when I was like in high school, it was a little bit more balanced. You had your Kanye West, you had your when he was, early Kanye.
Mhm.
We had our Black Eyed Peas, we had our Common, you had our Outkast, of course Missy. I'm not gonna exclude anything. And then rappers like Tierra Whack and Rhapsody are very talented and coming with like a different style, but I feel like they don't get the same push as other rappers and MCs. And again, this is not bashing
Right.
the other MCs. Don't come for us, the fan base. It's not that type of energy.
Absolutely not.
But we do wish like to have a diversity in sound because hip hop has always been about a movement and telling a story, but we need to make sure that all stories are told.
Absolutely. And I think it's in from the standpoint of balance, I think it's very, very important that it's understood that young people, and I say young people because it's a younger demographic, the young people of today, I feel like they should be able to express themselves in any way that they want to express themselves. But I also think it's being perpetuated that they don't have a brain, or they don't have another passion, or they're not passionate about their environment, meaning their immediate environment, their neighborhoods. They're not passionate about what's going on in the world. They don't care as long as, they can, smoke, drink, and have a party. That's what's being perpetuated. And I know for a fact that's not true, because we are passionate. We are a passionate, a passionate culture. So I know that with every, young artist that's coming out that might put a record out that, is saying nothing in regards to anything that's let's say other than entertainment. Let's say they're not saying anything on this record other than entertainment. They are still people. They still have feelings. They still want the same things that everybody wants, that their families and friends are healthy. They have the ability to grow, to educate themselves, to have, beautiful homes, to be able to affect their environment in a positive way. We all want that. They all want that. But because things are perpetuated, certain types of stereotypes are perpetuated, how the other parts of themselves aren't being seen. It's just one part of themselves being seen. And that's what I don't want, because we have some incredible incredible beings, incredible artists that are young that might not be saying what we want to hear in music, but they have passion about saying other things that affect us positively as a culture and as humans. So I want that to be seen for everybody.
Well said. I couldn't say it better for myself. Now,
Okay.
for someone with such like a strong voice and a sense of activism, is that fair to say?
I
I
would
was,
say,
so I was like I wanted to know like what was it like for you being a woman MC in the 90s, like you coming up in the industry?
um, it was a lot of support. There was a lot of support. I think when I first came out, the great thing for me is that I had a hit record that came in the room before I did. So before I met anyone or did my tour or whatever, 5 o'clock had already made the first impression for me and they already loved the record. So it was a little bit easier for me to come behind the record and for them to meet me. But I did have someone, I had one DJ at a radio station. She was like, I was kind of scared to meet you. She said, and I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, because you look a little mean on the cover. And I was like, really? And I was like, she was like, but you're a very cool person. But I got a lot of support as a female. I didn't run into opposition of guys like, stay in your place or anything like that. I had a lot of support from different MCs, male MCs that were my peers. I had so much, man. One person that I met that I was just so in awe of, and still today, it's just an incredible force within the culture, is KRS-One. And when I met KRS-One for the first time, we have a song out called People Time right now. So go check that out if you all haven't heard KRS-One and Nonchalant, People Time. When I met him, he made me feel so and I'm a new artist, mind you. I'm a new artist. I'm working on the second record. And he made me feel incredible. He made me feel so comfortable. He made me feel respected as an MC. It wasn't like, okay, you about to work with me, I'm gonna tell you no, he made me feel truly respected as an MC. And I will never forget that. And I've gotten that from day one with working with people like Marley Marl, who is an icon in hip hop, working with him and working with so many others that just made me feel welcome as an MC, female MC, but as an MC.
I'm glad to hear that because when I grew up like watching behind the music and then unsung, and then you hear all these like heartbreaking stories, um for artists that had like such great potential, but then, something bad happened that, stifled their career or they face like opposition because of their gender or how they see themselves. So it's good to hear that, in the mid 90s that you were so supported and your talent spoke for you. And that puts a smile on my face. I'm really glad to hear that.
Thank you. Now I will say that thinking back, I would say it was a 99% to 1% ratio. And one interview that I did with I don't know if it was a periodical outlet. I'm not sure if it was a magazine or radio. I can't remember. I think it was magazine. And I had an interview with a lady, and there was this whole stigma about female MCs and our sexuality. This is the time between during Kim and Foxy and so forth and so on. A lot of people asked me about Foxy and Kim. I actually did a couple of shows with Kim and Junior Mafia, and I was asked about my thoughts on how provocative they were, and I was like, I think that's dope, because we are sexual beings. We can own our sexuality. They're dope MCs. So I'm not, if you're looking for me to bash them, that's not going to happen. But I remember her asking me about the ratio of gay women in hip hop. Do you think we're all perceived, and this was during this time, to be gay? And I was like, and she was like, how do you feel about that? And I said, well, I feel like if less someone's rapping about that, then that question can be asked. Otherwise, if that woman is not rapping about that, I don't think that's anybody's business, whatever she is, whatever her choice is. And then she asked me the question, asked a couple of questions, and then she doubled back on that question. And I had to, I said, I'm going to ask you two questions. One, would you ask Snoop Dogg that question again after he answered that question? Second question, are you attracted to me and you're trying to ask me out or something? But that was one of those times where I know you would never ask a guy that. You wouldn't even ask that guy, any male MC, about his sexual preference or what he felt about any preference about other male MCs. What do you think is going on? And that was the one time that I was like, I was asked that question because I was a female. So, but outside of that, again, I would say 99%, I didn't run into any problems. It was a great experience. And it continues to be.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to hold your ground with that interview, because I feel like any woman in the industry that doesn't present themselves like ultra femme, they also get asked that or perceived a certain type of way. I'm just like, it was the 90s. Everybody was wearing, the baggy clothes, what was it, FUBU, and then Tommy Hilfiger was doing like streetwear. So it was just, that reporter was just out of touch in my
Right. I think she wanted to date and didn't know how to say it. And it was just like, lady, look, move on. You're right. Move on, lady. So yeah.
For the music industry and how it's currently structured, I have some students, because I'm in the fine arts department at my high school.
Okay.
And I've encountered some amazing, talented young people, ranging, whether it's acting, singing, a musician. And, I encourage students to like really follow their dreams. But reports of how some labels may be treating their artists, whether it's withholding publishing, or even like the current debate of streaming right now in terms of like, what is it? How many streams per cent or dollar?
Right.
Like, what is your experience with that now compared to like how it was like in the mid 90s?
Well, definitely. I mean, definitely during the mid 90s, you were in a situation where, you were signed to a label, and the label, and then you had, if the label wasn't trying to get your publishing, then a publishing company was. And of course, they would give you an advance on your publishing. And then, you have to write a certain amount of songs, and you know what I mean? So, and then you could get your publishing back. So publishing was a whole nother deal that you had to live up to. You had to release a certain amount of music. And then, and there were terms on how long they would hold your publishing. It could be 5 years, it could be 50 years, it could be, you just had to read the fine print. So, and today, fortunately, artists have the ability to release things on their own, via things like TuneCore. You can release all of your own music and own your own publishing, and everything can come back to you. You can do that via as a producer and retain all of your own publishing. So that's the great thing about today, is that now, of course, you're going to pay a small fee. You're going to pay a fee for them to do, the things that, a record label would do. But at the same time, it's not you signing your life away or signing for a certain amount of time. This is just a subscription, the same way you subscribe to Netflix. You're just going to pay a fee, and they're going to, take a percentage, and you get all the rest. So, and you can release as much music as you want to. You can do the same thing with your visuals, like you can do that through TuneCore, or there are things like Vidya, who can release all your visuals. So the great thing, artists have the freedom of not being tied to a label and waiting for them to choose to release you. You can release as much music for free as you want, or, upload it to Spotify or whoever, whatever you want to do. It's just totally up to you. And that's the great thing about today, but with that comes a lot of other people doing it, and the need to make sure that you are setting yourself aside or setting yourself apart from the next artist, because your neighbors releasing music, everybody's releasing music. So what's going to keep their attention, because you are up against millions, as opposed to 50,000 releases. You got millions of releases every day. So
So it just seems like today is like the competition is flooded more so
absolutely,
back then.
absolutely.
Well, that's good, but is the upside is they have more creative freedom
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
opposed to waiting for a label to release their music. They could just put it out there and let the audience decide, as opposed to whatever data the label is going by.
Absolutely. You don't have to, yeah, you don't have to wait. You can choose everything. And the thing with that is, you can release as much music as you want to. That's the thing. You can release as much music with the label. We were dealing with, you do an album, then you do a single, then you do a remix to the single, then you do, it's waiting, and then they're going to get a budget every year. So it's what they have a budget for, what artists they have a budget for. They're allocating money to a certain amount of artists every year. So now you got to wait till next year if you miss that budget. There's a whole bunch of things that would go into an artist being able to put music out years ago, but now it's free. It's a free for all. Just release your music.
And I hope that's advice that our young scholars hear. As long as you're knowledgeable about the industry and beware of like any other pitfalls, you can be successful and just be yourself.
Absolutely.
You did mention one project earlier with KRS-One.
Mhm.
What other projects are you currently working on right now?
Well, right now I am really, really pouring everything that I have into RPM, record pool mixes. And that is it's an event more so that I have where it's a throwback to the days of the record pool, like tables of distinction that used to happen when I was first coming out, where DJs came to hear new music from new artists. And the difference is I want the artists in the building with the DJs, and everyone can meet and talk and communicate. And more importantly, artists meet other artists, and that sort of thing. So it's cut out the middleman between anybody and the DJ. The artist meets the DJ, and we spin all DMV music. It's nothing but DMV music. All people have to do is send their music, and we will spin it, and they come in, and that's pretty much what it is. There are a lot of things that go on with education with RPM, on how to upload your music and publishing and that sort of thing. But the primary focus is the actual event, record pool mixes, that happens with artists and DJs in the building together.
That sounds amazing. Make sure that you send me the link. Are you also working with high school? Like who are you connecting with? Like how are you reaching out and pulling people for this endeavor?
Most of all via social media. Record pool mixes, our website is down right now because it's being reconstructed to being able to implement some more instruments on their playlist. But Record Pool Mixes has a IG page for information, but mostly social media. And when we do have the last event, we have so many. And I mean, every DJ, every artist is important, but DJs like DJ Rico, DJ Gemini, DJ Reds, every radio station was represented at the last RPM. So just via social media is so impactful because we had so many people come out because of our word of mouth and social media. But I would love to work with the schools, get into the schools ahead of the next event to prepare artists that are still in school to have their music sent to RPM. So that's something maybe we can work on, making sure that your students are prepared for the next one.
For sure. And that is such an amazing endeavor. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up this show. See how you guys glowed from this conversation. Thank you so much, Nonchalant.
Thank you for
I
having me.
can't wait to hear the track with you and KRS-One. I know it's going to be fire. And make sure you guys check it out in the description below. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.